Welcome back. You're still watching Daybreak on this 9th May of 2022. I want to introduce the panelists here in studio. We have Elias Mutuma, who is an advocate of the High Court. Good morning. And we have Dunstan Omari, an advocate of the High Court also. Good morning.
Morning, Sam, and morning, citizen viewers.
Great, and they are here to talk about some issues of what's happening in the political circles and taking stock of that and also comparing it to what the law provides. But in the meantime, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka has called on ODM leader Raila Odinga to heed to the call from his Ukambani backyard and select him as his running mate. Musyoka, who was in Wote in Makueni County, assured Odinga that the Ukambani region is fully behind his bid and that he will work with him in his journey to State House. And as Stephen Leto reports, ODM MPs from the Coast region are now pushing for Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho to deputize Odinga in his quest.
Ambaye tumemwombea awe Rais Amolo Odinga, wakasikizane na kila kitu kinacholeta roho ya tofauti kiondolewe na kiti hicho apate katika jina la Yesu Kristo.
With only 2 days left before the Odinga running mate selection panel concludes its work, pressure continues to mount on Odinga to name Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka as his running mate. Speaking in Wote during a prayer gathering, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka called on the Azimio presidential aspirant Raila Odinga to heed calls from the Kamba community.
And I've been talking about sacrificial champions. Watu ambao kwa tayari, hata viongozi ambao mmewaona hapa, ni yupi anaweza kumuondokea mwenzake ndio ashikilie uongozi kwa kipindi fulani. Ukijua kwamba Mungu akipenda wewe itakuwa ni zamu yako kesho ama kesho kutwa.
Leaders who accompanied Kalonzo in Makueni drummed up their support for Kalonzo while at the same time issued ultimatums.
Raila in 2017 ulitembea Ukambani na ukambia Wakamba na Wakenya ya kwamba in 2022 you will stand behind Kalonzo Musyoka for the position of President of the Republic of Kenya. Sisi kwa heshima tumerudi nyuma hatua moja.
Kalonzo Musyoka is not attending the interview on Monday. Mr. Wekesa, andika mahali notes. Musyoka is not attending. Alafu wewe usidhubutu kutoa majibu ya kusema ati Kalonzo hakukuja, alafu utapatia kiti mtu mwingine deputy president. Si museme kitaumana? Paje ubiuba.
No Kalonzo! No Kalonzo! No Kalonzo! Tatuseme ya kwamba the people's interview is over.
Odinga was to attend the Wote meeting but was represented by Musyoka, who assured Odinga of his support all the way to the polls.
Na mimi nikasema ni kama nimecheleweshwa kidogo. Ndio mimi nafurahi juzi tu tulipotoka Nairobi kwenda Mombasa, msisimko wa ajabu. Watu wako tayari kuhakikisha kwamba ile safari mimi na Raila tulianza ya 2013 na 2017 inafikia kikomo 2022.
In Mombasa, ODM MPs were also reading from a different script. Led by Mvita lawmaker Abdul Swamad Nasur, the leaders pushed for Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho for the running mate position.
Katika walotajwa wanaoweza kuwa running mate wa Raila Amolo Odinga ni ndugu Gavana Hassan Ali Joho na dada yetu Mama Charity Ngilu ambao wako katika mstari wa mbele. Iki chama cha ODM hakikuzaliwa wala hakiuzii uoga. Kwa hivyo msimamo wetu sisi ni kuchukua maoni ya kila mmoja, lakini katika hali ya kuchukua maoni tuwe pia tunaheshimu katiba na matakwa ya Wakenya kwa jumla.
Hatutakubali ya kwamba kuwe na vyama vingine ama viongozi ambao wako na agenda fiche, agenda ya kuvunja Azimio. Lengo na madhumuni ya Azimio ni Azimio tuiboreshe na Azimio iwe na nguvu na Azimio iunde serikali ya taifa la Kenya.
The Wekesa-led panel is set to hand over its work on Tuesday ahead of the 16th May IEBC deadline for the naming of running mates. Stephen Leto, Citizen TV.
All right, so that's what's happening within the Azimio la Umoja movement. I just want to quickly take you through the list of some 11 names that have been recommended by their respective political parties to go for that position of running mate for Raila Odinga. Let's quickly look at them on those particular names. They are Kalonzo Musyoka from the Wiper Party, Sabina Chege from Jubilee Party, Martha Karua from NARC Kenya, Peter Kenneth from the Jubilee Party. Those then the others are that names from these political parties: KANU, Gideon Moi; ODM, Ali Hassan Joho; Stephen Tarus, National Liberal Party; Charity Ngilu from the NARC Party. And then you have Peter Munya from PNU, Wycliffe Oparanya from ODM, and Lee Kinyanjui by Ubuntu Party, though I thought he had come back to the Jubilee Party and going for governorship in Nakuru County on the same party. Let me begin with you, Danstan Omari, because when you listen to all these leaders within Azimio la Umoja, each is pulling to their side, especially from those respective political parties that form that Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition. Political party, such a long name. But what's going on? What are we supposed to be reading here with the list of 11 men and women already presented to the selection panel?
Sam, there is nothing to be read here. This is no more politics. Politics does not operate on the principles of other professions or administration principles. What I'm seeing and what I'm reading is Raila Odinga being the best politician in this country. He has thrown a decoy. People are making a lot of noise. Everybody is trying to talk, because one thing that is very clear, Sam, the question of a running mate is like the question of deciding a spouse. You cannot allow a panel to interview your spouse. Out of the 10 girlfriends or the 10 boyfriends, then you say, you guys, Sam and Wakili, go and get for me who I can marry. That can't happen. Raila Odinga knows exactly who he is going to nominate on the 16th as a running mate. 2, everybody standing and everybody making noise is trying to be relevant politically. When you look at Kalonzo, Kalonzo had faded completely before this question came up. Kalonzo has managed to completely chase politically Ngilu, Professor Kibwana, and the Chap guy. So out of it, Kalonzo has become totally relevant. When you see Peter Munya is realizing that he was supposed to have resigned. My good friend Wakili, he could have now be in the ballot. It's too late, because the question of the UDA juggernaut running Meru region had, Munya is trying to be relevant. That you see, don't count me out. When you look people like Oparanya is trying to galvanize the support base of Western, which UDA has been fighting with the ANC seriously. So Oparanya is trying to say, let me see. When you see somebody like Gideon Moi seems to got lost when the UDA machine landed in Rift Valley. So the only thing for Gideon Moi to appear on Citizen TV and is covered is to appear that he's also running for number 2 position. When you look at people, all these other guys.
So from that list of 11, which for you are the top 3 that would actually make a realistic bid for that position?
The decision of who becomes a running mate is based on not by name. It is based on 3 things. 1, amount of resources you can bring, finances. When you look at all those people, Gideon Moi tops the list in terms of resources. The others might not be having enough resources, but they are Peter Kenneth has resources. Number 2, when you look at the numbers, actually running mate, the fundamental cardinal question is numbers. Kalonzo Musyoka carries the field in that day. He has numbers, and serious numbers that can jeopardize the Azimio thing completely out. So when you look at the question of numbers and resources, the President Uhuru and his Jubilee are saying we have resources, and perception-wise we have numbers. In reality, they do not have numbers. The president's team of Jubilee, although there are many, they will have resources, and the state, deep state resources. But in terms of numbers, they will not have it. So the likes of Martha Karua, the likes of Peter Kenneth, the likes of Lee Kinyanjui are coming riding the horse called President Uhuru Kenyatta. When they'll be asked, show us the numbers that you bring to this table. Because winning an election in 2022 and every other year is 50 plus 1. You must get 50 plus 1.
Charity Ngilu?
Charity Ngilu, already they have been completely outpaced by Kalonzo. They were very strong in Azimio. They were very, very strong in Azimio. And you can see what was happening. The running mates, 3 of them were coming from Azimio. Kalonzo, it was Ngilu, it was Mutua, it was Professor Kivutha Kibwana. When Kalonzo came in, the real person who owns the constituency called Cumberland, the 3 have faded about.
So from that analysis, your number is Kalonzo Musyoka, number 2? If
Raila makes a mistake of not appointing Kalonzo, then definitely UDA will run him off. The others do not feature. Number 2, really, who has numbers? Because to me, the only fundamental person that plays is Kalonzo Musyoka.
Okay.
Okay. If we go for number 2, for funding, international funding and civil society, Martha Karua will bring a lot of funds. The women vote. But in terms of the voters, she does not bring anybody. The 3rd person ranking there is Peter Kenneth. The Mount Kenya Foundation will fund heavily Peter Kenneth, but in terms of numbers, they are not there. So my bet is that Raila Odinga is fattening Kalonzo so that when he appoints him, the running mate, the Kambas will be told, you know how we fought? Do you know how you got this ticket? Make sure every Kamba alive, sick, in a hospital, anywhere, wakes up to vote for Kalonzo. That is my...
I hear you. Wakili Mutuma, what's your reading about what's going on? And do you agree with that short list of Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, Peter Kenneth in that order?
I agree, but then I do not agree with the criteria. I do not think finances and resources are a factor with Azimio, because Azimio belongs to Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta. These guys are loaded by themselves. I do not think they need extra resources from Peter Kenneth, Martha Karua, or any other candidate. So I do not think finances will be a factor for them. It is about what do we stand to lose if we do not pick Kalonzo Musyoka? What do we stand to lose if we do not pick Martha Karua? What do we stand to lose if we do not pick someone else? But honestly, this thing goes either to Martha Karua because of our background, just to ensure that the Kikuyu community, and here I'm not talking about the Mount Kenya community. Last time I was here, I tried to distinguish between the different units within the Mount Kenya region. So Martha Karua does not represent the larger Mount Kenya community. She only represents the Kikuyu community. And that's why you hear Merus are saying we also need to see one of our own in this arrangement. That's why they are pushing for Peter Munya. That's a story for another day, because I do not know whether Peter Munya is qualified or not to be appointed as a running mate, because he's still serving as we speak.
But just while you are there,
yes.
Is there a position you run for or you're picked?
The position of a running mate is elective. It is not appointive.
Can you resign in anticipation that you'll be named a running mate?
No, but you must have in yourself satisfied yourself that I want to run for this position, because your name will be on the ballot. We are electing you as a running mate.
That's what I'm asking, because,
yes.
I mean, there's a process of how people become candidates. You go through nominations, you become an aspirant. First you go through the party clearance. If you win, then you go to the next level. If you're an independent, there's a process that you follow.
Yes.
But for running mate, it is the candidate that picks you. Can you resign on 9th of February in anticipation that you'll be Raila Odinga's running mate?
Let me put it this way. The person appointing you must, first of all, ensure that you qualify. By qualifying, I mean that you should not be serving as a public servant. So if you're serving, then you do not qualify.
Okay, I'll wait to hear what Wakili thinks about that. But carry on the choice of this running mate.
I think for Azimio, they really must look at who will make sure that we have the votes. Who do we ensure that if we do not pick them, our votes are lost to the opponent? And I think that person is Kalonzo Musyoka, to be very honest. Number two, Sam, is that I think there was a grand plan. And this was well thought out and well planned on how government would be formed in 2022. And that was through the BBI arrangement, because BBI had nothing to do with anything else apart from just the 22 elections. I think that bubble was busted by the judgments from the High Court, Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court, forcing these guys to go back to the drawing board. And going back to the drawing board means that Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga had somehow to overpromise, knowing very well that what they're promising, they are incapable of delivering, because, number one, we have limited spaces and positions under the current constitutional dispensation. So now they have to go back and find a way of bringing them together, somehow overpromising them, knowing very well they will not deliver, but then hoping that they will be able to manage these guys until elections. Then thereafter, let whatever happens happen. And
there's a story to that effect on the Standard. Tears, gnashing of teeth ahead for key players. It's a story that is continued on page 6 of the Standard, that you see harsh post-election reality that awaits Raila and Ruto, top allies. Some trusted allies of the two leaders will miss out on positions in government. The two candidates, as at now, do not have a lot of latitude in making decisions. Of course, knowing that you're still trying to bid for the vote. But what is your thinking, especially for Kenya Kwanza? The front page of the Standard will show you some of the images there, that on the side of Kenya Kwanza, you have Mwangi Kionjeri, you have William Kabogo, you have Speaker Justin Muturi, you have Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula. And of course, there has been propositions on who is likely to be the candidate for running mate on the side of Kenya Kwanza. What is your thinking, especially about the names that have been positioned? Is it a done deal that that running mate must come from Mount Kenya? And if yes, then from which particular location, given the differences there?
I think for Kenya Kwanza, it is not as much of a headache as it is for Azimio. Reason being, it does not appear from Kenya Kwanza that anyone is coming with a sense of entitlement, as opposed to Azimio, because you're seeing Azimio's guys making demands, actual demands, meaning that when they joined Azimio, that was part of the promise, that was part of the arrangement. When you look at Kenya Kwanza, the story is different. It's about being meticulous, it's about being mathematical on who delivers most votes, not necessarily who feels entitled and who we are going to lose if we do not appoint them. You've not seen Mudavadi. I think at the initial stages, we saw Malala and the rest making demands, but then that was abandoned because I think there was some boardroom arrangements. So for Kenya Kwanza, I think it will be so much on where don't we have following and where can we tap from the person we are going to appoint. Must it come from Mount Kenya? I don't think for William Ruto it is mandatory for him to pick a running mate from Mount Kenya. Reason being, it appears that William Ruto as a person, without even using any of the kingpins, has been able to make quite some inroads in Mount Kenya and has reached out to the voter by himself. So it does not necessarily depend on the Rigathi Gachagua, on Kionjori, on Kabogo or any other person to reach out to the voter. He can do that without relying on any of the the kingpins. I also do not think that any of the faces there, without due respect, represents you know, the Kikuyu community and can say, I am the spokesperson of Kikuyu. Just like you saying Kalonzo speaks for Kambani, and if he speaks, you know Kambani is speaking. I do not think any of the guys within Kenya Kwanza can claim to have, you know, attained that position of I am the person you should go through if you want to reach out to Mount Kenya. So I think for William Ruto, it will be more of where don't I have much support? Can I exploit that by appointing one of their own?
And where would that be?
Well, I would say it is either the lower eastern part, no, upper eastern part. That is either you're picking someone from Tharaka Nithi or Meru, or you go western.
Interesting.
Yes.
And then, Dunstan, so there has been some names, including one of the dailies last week presented Kithure Kindiki for that position with a lot of certainty. Then there's Justin Muturi, the Deputy Speaker. Then there's Rigathi Gachagua. There's Anne Waiguru. Well, of course, Musalia Mudavadi, but Wakili here says that he appears not to be in the game. What is your thinking, and what are the considerations for these potentials?
Well, when you look at Kenya Kwanza, the faces that are intending to be named running mate, we start with the Speaker, Justin Muturi. He comes with a lot of experience. He comes with a lot of respect. He comes with a lot of aura that has been a speaker, former magistrate, a senior advocate, and he comes from the smallest tribe in Imbere, in those sides of near Embu. Does he have numbers? He can only add 10,000 votes extra to William Ruto. When you go to Kabogo, the second one, Kabogo comes with a serious constituency of resources and a serious name as a former governor. But in terms of adding the numbers extra from Kiambu and Mount Kenya region, he can add 50,000 votes to William Ruto. So he really does not meet that fast. When you look at the former cabinet minister, Kinjuri had a serious brand. Actually, Kinjuri miscalculated, and he had become the entry point of William Ruto to Mount Kenya region. He lost that. Then William Ruto sneaked in and continued into the bedroom of Kinjuri. So Kinjuri from Laikipia, he can add another 20,000 votes to William Ruto. So really, he does not meet that bill. Anne Waiguru, Kirinyaga, Anne Waiguru is a very strong governor contestant, but not a presidential candidate. So really, if we add Waiguru, she adds around 100,000 votes to William Ruto, so she will not be given that seat. When you look at Wetangula comes from the most popular sub-tribe of the Luhya called the Bukusus, a serious constituency which constitutes around more than 51% of the Luhya votes. So if Wetangula is given, he can add some around 500,000 votes to William Ruto. When you look at Musalia Mudavadi, it is a balancing act. If Raila Odinga goes for Kalonzo, definitely William Ruto will go for Musalia Mudavadi because of these arithmetics that Musalia Mudavadi running as a number 2 position comes with at least over 2.7 to 3 million Luhya votes, which none of all these people control. Right now...
Can he deliver all of it to Kenya Kwanza?
If Raila Odinga does not name Oparanya as a running mate, then if William names Musalia, all the Luhya votes will head that direction. And that is the question. Are these people going to avoid naming anybody from Mount Kenya region as a running mate? That is the reason as to why my lecturer for public international law, Professor Kindiki Kithure, he's the best qualified. But does he come with votes? The Meru people, the Tharaka people, have become so loyal, not through Professor Kindiki, but directly to William Ruto. So Professor can add another 10,000 votes because all the people are loyal to William Ruto. So in my own analysis, if William Ruto goes for a candidate from Mount Kenya, it will not add up an extra 500,000 votes. Okay. Already, because the options are very clear, if he does not give the Mount Kenya region a ticket, will they vote for Baba?
But if he doesn't pick a running mate from Mount Kenya, then Raila Odinga picks a running mate from Mount Kenya. How does that change?
The question, and this is the dynamic and the beast in the house. Will they vote for Baba? The question is, remember, and I've given this analogy, there seems to be a serious historical question that has never been resolved within the Mount Kenya region and Baba. Baba, as Baba, is he sellable? That is missing. Number two, when you look at Baba and William Ruto, there are two things. That historical connotation that they have never voted for him. Two, the Mount Kenya region have an issue with their own son, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya. The object, the face of President Uhuru Kenyatta, add also the face of Baba there, that makes some resentment to the Mount Kenya region. Three, when you look at William Ruto brings one aspect that I have not seen in all these people, excitement. Baba used to be exciting, and I hope he's listening, and somebody cheated him that he should stop doing with his vitenda willy and his football tricks. That was exciting the voters. Baba today walks very stately. He does not have that excitement. The president doesn't have that excitement. William Ruto appears in a political rally, you see some sort of excitement. The commoner voter is more excited with that excitement. So, whether Baba and Uhuru Kenyatta name a candidate from from Mount Kenya, the question of 2022 is not about the running mate in Mount Kenya region.
Okay.
The question is about can they vote for Baba and President Uhuru Kenyatta? That is what they should be dealing with.
Okay, I hear you. And I need us to hurry because there's been some concerns. Let's listen to CS Matiang'i, who spoke about the Deputy President recently.
I frankly hoped nobody would ask me that kind of question, because those who are saying that are the ones who should be asked to explain what job I took from them, because I'm not the one talking about taking a job from someone. Those who are talking about it and making those claims are the ones who should actually be asked to explain what job I took from them. If it wasn't a serious matter that touches on the stability of the country, you would even actually laugh about it. Did I become a CS now? I wasn't a CS in 2017. And we were moving around with them. Now, because I am not with them, or I'm not on the platform with them, now I am breaking the law. I wasn't breaking the law in 2017. They can tell that to the birds. Thanks.
Okay, the birds are not here. But that's CS Matiang'i. And of course, this is just after CS Mucheru had said a few things about working with Raila Odinga on management of information, and that caused quite a bit of uproar from the Kenya Kwanza team, them saying that this appears like a plot to interfere with the management of the election. When you look at, I mean, it's just about 3 months or 92 days to the election. Where are we at? Whether it's in terms of infrastructure of the election, legally, and the politics?
Well, allow me just weigh in a little bit back on the issue of the Mount Kenya running mate issue. I think when you look at the Mount Kenya community, it doesn't so much vote for a candidate, but against a candidate. And that's has been proven historically. When you look at Uhuru 1 in 2017, they voted overwhelmingly for Uhuru Kenyatta, not because they were voting for him, but because they were voting against Raila. When Raila boycotted the elections, they did not even bother to show up and vote for their son. In 2022, they do not seem to have a clear enemy.
No, that's not very factual. They actually did. Because ultimately, I think Uhuru Kenyatta was able to get over 7 million, and the majority from their strongholds.
But compare that to the first election.
It was slightly lower?
Yes. And that means that they did not, there was not so much turn-up as they had done during the first round. So in this case, in 2022, they do not seem to have a clear enemy that they are voting against. I mean, they've tried to sell fear in Mount Kenya that, William Ruto is not good, he's this and that. But then has that sunk? Has that really been accepted by the Kikuyu community so much that they would vote against William Ruto? The answer is no. So in this case, I do not think the choice of a running mate from Mount Kenya would really help them turn out and vote for that particular candidate. But to answer your question on issues of election preparedness and where are we, I would first of all say that I think we are in good hands. IBC is doing a good job. And there's a reason why IBC was established, number one, as an independent commission, number two, as a permanent commission, because some of the other commissions are not fully permanent in terms of either composition or membership. What do I mean? When you look at commissions like a Judicial Service Commission, some of the serving members are also part-time. They are serving in other positions. But IBC's members are full-time. That means that they started planning and organizing for these elections when they finished their first assignment in 2017. So I would say to that extent that we are in safe hands. So even in instances where IBC seemingly has been seen not to be, living up to its task, you would attribute easily that to external factors, like, frustrations from other stakeholders, because you have a parliament that comes up with the legal framework. You have executive that allocates budget and must allocate that budget in a timely manner for them to be able to do what they must do. Then you have other stakeholders also trying to infiltrate and influence the elections one way or the other.
Okay.
Yes.
I hear you, Wakili, and Wakili Dunstan, because we have to end this. So your thoughts about these conversations around persons that are within government, sentiments that they say there, and the reality on the ground of the management of the election. How should Kenyans read those quibbles against this process that should be in good form in 3 months?
Some, for the first time, this is the election that the referee is not under attack. For the first time, no political formation is fighting the IBC, which means Chebukati, senior lawyer, and his team have managed to bring confidence to the political formations. Number two, the country seems to be satisfied that IBC is not leaning to any other party. Third, when you see the CS Matiang'i is saying his job is purely coordination of logistics of the IEBC, the security apparatus are very, very, very critical. When the CS Musheru says he will ensure every part of this country is connected for the transmission of results. What we are seeing slowly is a momentum moving forward that the way IBC is moving is better. For example, there was a contest and a serious war between the parties on the running mate. The deadline was on 28th. IBC accommodated them, called them and discussed with them, and by consensus, they pushed the date to 16, which is a rare opportunity of the other IBCs that were saying it is either 28th or finished. So in my own view, the election preparedness from every stakeholder, the judiciary through the CJ Martha Koome has made serious preparation. Trainings, they are ready. The Law Society of Kenya, we have been undergoing a lot of training through the LSK for the petitions that are coming. The police have geared their aspects to that area. So in my own view, I've also seen the media conducting their training sessions for how to cover the election. That is tremendously. So in my own view, I think this will be the first election, like the 2002 election, when anybody who will be declared the winner, nobody will have any justifiable reason to say that they were never given a good forum. Remember, nowadays, Kenya Kwanza or Azimio, they can hold a political rally anywhere. You have seen the police are pulled back. There is no violence in political rallies. So in my own view, I think that the country is doing perfectly well. And Kenyans, my last word is that if there will be a dispute, Let no Kenyan go to the streets. Every Kenyan know the judiciary is competent to decide your petition. Look for votes with the voters. Don't look for votes for violence or in courts for petitions.
All right, and of course there was that special report that was filed by Raquel Mugai yesterday, Scars of the Vote, just remind us what happens at such times if we don't manage our politics. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Danstan Omari, Wakili, and also Wakili Elias Mutuma for making time for us to have this conversation, and we'll do this some other time. But for now, we take a short break. When we come back, we'll be speaking to Professor Abdi Gulia, who is the commissioner with the IEBC, and also we'll be speaking to Anne Derito, who is the registrar of political parties, just to give us an update of what they've been able to see in the management of the party primaries, and the processing of candidates or aspirants, and what next for this ahead of the general election in those 92 days. After the break, stay tuned.